Welcome to season 2 of She Shield Podcast. I'm your host, Sophia, and this season we're bringing a fresh lineup designed to educate, empower, and entertain. The mission of this podcast has always been to bring you all practical knowledge from experts in the industry, whether that's competitive shooting, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, concealed carry, or everyday preparedness. This episode is a very unique one in that I have never done one quite like this. The interviews from today are from the last class I took with ShivWorks, which is the Extreme Close Quarter Concepts course, also known as ECQC. And if that sounds like a lot of words and letters to you, essentially it is everything from verbals to wrestling to weapons-based combative work with a ton of simulation training. So you actually work with pistols with sim rounds. Anyway, let me just read you the description online because that's a lot easier. According to ShivWorks, Extreme Close Quarter Concepts is a 2.5 day or 20-hour block of instruction that offers a multidisciplinary approach to building functional combative handgun skills at 0 to 5 feet. The course is designed to instill core concepts to avoid, stabilize, and resolve a problem at arm's length or closer. They instruct a simplistic and congruent system. Once students' skill sets are once students' skill sets are ingrained, they will be stress inoculated with force-on-force drills using marking cartridges and protective equipment. What that means is essentially the pistols with simunition rounds, as well as helmets to protect yourself from those simunition rounds. And of course, any blows you take to the head, like elbows, knees, you know what I mean. This is a very special course to me. This is the very first professional course I ever took in the firearms industry, and I'm so thankful for that. For a long time, I was like, wow, this is kind of a crazy course to make it my first, but the thing I love about it is it really set the tone for what concealed carry, what self-defense should truly look like with the firearm. The first day of the course, you start on a Friday night, is the verbal component. So we do something called managing unknown contacts. This is how to talk to someone entering your space. They teach you how to scale from ask, tell, and make. If you've ever heard that kind of continuum of how to communicate with someone coming into your space, they teach you tools on how to do that, and then they help you put it into practice. You get a ton of reps. You get super uncomfortable with the people in the class because you kind of have to yell at them. But imagine the first time having to tell someone to back off being on the street. This class puts you in a position where you can experience it in a controlled manner with feedback from these just renowned instructors. Speaking of, the first interview is going to be with Craig Douglas himself. He is the founder of ShivWorks, and then we will go on to Brian and Scotty, his assistant instructors. I absolutely love these dudes. Whenever I took ECQC the first time, Craig was working on his own, and now he has these two instructors to help him out, only helping make his course better. Don't get me wrong, though. Craig's solo days were freaking awesome. He's an incredible instructor, very professional man in the industry. And yeah, guys, if you have ever wanted to take this course and you've hesitated or you don't know if it's for you, or you just want to hear a little bit from a couple of the instructors as well as students in the course, this episode is for you. I interviewed a lady named Olivia. She is an instructor and female cop. So I got to get her perspective, as well as a man named Nick. He's a father. That was his goal, right? Going into ECQC, he just wanted to be a better protector. So I get two varying kind of perspectives of individuals that took this course in addition to the instructors. And I just wanted to help you all realize what is out there. What are some courses maybe you can look forward to this 2026 year? By the way, guys, Happy New Year. Again, this is a very new style of interview. There's not a lot of context when I start out other than saying, hey guys, this is so and so, so bear with me. Don't be afraid to stick around to the very end because I really love Nick's perspective. He gives you that perspective of the average civilian man who just wants to be a better protector. I have a lot of respect for him for that. And yeah, guys, I'm so thankful for all the connections I make in these classes. If you took the class and you're listening, lovely to hear/you hear me talk. Everyone was so kind to let me record the class and get content for you all, the listeners. I will have a full vlog coming out of this class as well. I just wanted to get the interviews out there because, guys, they're so special. And if you're someone who just likes to listen as opposed to watch, then this is for you. All right, let's get into it. Okay, guys, I'm here with Brian, one of the ShivWorks instructors. Brian, I'm so excited for this. This is my third ECQC. I'm finally starting to hear what Craig is saying. You know what I mean?
I do understand. It's a fire hose of information. Usually people say by the third time they're starting to tread water and retain the actual information and get the details. It's a lot over 2.5 days.
Exactly. And how long have you been with ShivWorks?
This is going into my 4th year of doing it full time. I think my very first ECQC was 2017 or 2018, and it was actually here at this range. A buddy of mine, Asa, was like, you got to meet this guy, Craig. He's doing the same stuff you're doing. You're going to love it. We came out here. Mike Pannone was in that course, and we fought over a gun right here. It was a blast, and then got to shoot everyone inside of a car, and I was like, this is amazing. And yeah, my 4th year doing it full time.
Hell yeah. Give me one quick sec. I'm paranoid that it's not recording. It's recording. We're totally good. Okay, awesome. Wonderful. Well, something I love about your teaching, which, by the way, my first ECQC, Craig was on his own, which now that you all are here, it's insane to think about that. But something I love about you is you're incredibly articulate and you make people think. You don't just like give all the answers. You make them think about what things should be so that they can kind of have that built in when they're on their own as we go out. Because we only have these 3 days with you guys and then we're on our own. So I really appreciate that about you. Especially, your teaching philosophy is lovely. I always look forward to hearing it again. So I would love to know, who is ECQC for? One of the top questions I get is, I don't do jiu-jitsu, I don't do wrestling. Obviously, I can't go to this until I have like my blue belt. So who's it for?
ECQC is for the person who has absolutely no experience other than a general ability to safely handle a firearm. That's it. So you don't have to have any prior fighting experience, and you do have to have safe handling of a gun, but other than that, you don't need any tactical firearm experience. A lot of people are attracted to the class who have tactical backgrounds. They're cops, they're SWAT, they're military, but you don't need any of that. It is designed for someone who is going to come here starting from zero, and we're going to take that person to hopefully make it home. Zero to make it home. And that's why every time we do ECQC, you're going to go through the base of wrestling down to what is an attachment? What's a connection between another person using your limbs? Underhook, overhook, bicep tie, wrist tie. The guy who trains all the time doesn't need to hear that, but it is in there because it's designed for the zero. And we're going to take that zero and get you to a point where hopefully you're at least making good decisions. Even if you can't come out on top, those good decisions give you a better chance of making it home. And that's also who we evaluate at the end of the course. So when we do the introductions and people say, I've never done any fighting before, I've never done this, so I'm just, dipping my toes into the water. At the end of Sunday, we go back in the car and we talk, hey, Jason, he's never fought before and he was able to keep the gun in the holster, or he was able to get his gun out and put rounds into the other guy. And that's the mark of, did we do a good job? The guy who knows how to fight, he's going to figure it out. He just needs a new lens to frame the problem, and that's all we have to give him. But the guy who doesn't know how to fight needs a lot more. So it's geared for them.
I love that. Thank you. It's always so cool to see everyone from a father-son duo to like the jiu-jitsu 5th degree black belt, which is I think what you are, right?
Like two
secondary. Yeah. Okay. Well, hell, I mean, to me, that's like, as a blue belt, that's like the same thing.
It's 6 years as a black belt.
Woo! Okay.
Yeah, 6 years.
Hell yeah. And
the father-son thing is amazing because I just had my first baby.
Yes.
And I see them. Man, I can't wait till he's 14, 15 years old and I can come out here, 3, and I can beat him up and say, I'm still better than you, boy. It's an awesome thing. We get father-daughter duos. There's one that's going to be in, I think, the next Edge Weapons overview. She's 15 years old. So he emailed and I got on a phone call with him just to, here's what we do. He's never been through a course. I'd prefer if the father had, just so he knows what he's getting into. But he's like, I really want my 15-year-old to do this. I think it's going to be beneficial for her. And I love having those people come through.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. Well, if you see anything on the Instagram page and YouTube, that's all Brian. He's definitely spread the word of ShivWorks, which was one of my big reasons I started my podcast. I heard of Craig randomly, and I was like, shit, what if I never found him? It's actually my first formal firearms class ever. So
That's a good way to start.
Jesus.
I think it's a great, especially the way we present the firearm rules, that each one of them is in that order for a reason. And I think that is something that most people, they just kind of glaze over the rules without giving the reason behind each rule. And the reasons matter. And it helps your understanding, which helps you make better conscious decisions in the moment.
Absolutely. I would say my note taking from first ECQC to this one, first ECQC, I just kind of wrote down what Craig was saying. This time I'm writing down what he's saying and why, like his reason
behind the words.
And it's changing everything. It's registering so much more. So anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I have Scotty, one of the 3 instructors of ShivWorks here. I've loved working with Scotty. He was so helpful, especially when I dropped my Zendira Sophia bag. He gave me some resistance and an evolution so I could actually test that thing out. That was so much fun. Scotty, I would love to introduce you and just have you say how long you've been in ShivWorks and what it means to you.
Cool. Yeah, I've been working with Craig and ShivWorks for almost 9 years now. I found him around 2016, 2017, went to ECQC. So yeah, no, I've been teaching professionally for about 20 years now, but at the time, most of the stuff that we did was just MMA based, teaching wrestling, teaching jiu-jitsu, teaching Muay Thai, boxing, whatever. But it was all kind of, let's teach the individual arts and then kind of blend it all into an MMA type thing. And that's what we were teaching military, law enforcement, all the stuff, all the people that we were working with. So, it was good. It was the best that we had to offer at the time. But then when I went and found Craig and ECQC, Extreme Close Quarters Concepts, I realized that what he was doing was a much better way. Very contextualized. Everything was blended together into a cohesive system that worked for most things that you run into in the real world. And so when we look at self-defense versus real world, I think real world application of fighting is a much better term for me. Self-defense is kind of a catch-all, but I like the terms, a real world situation, because in the real world, there's always going to be guns. There's always going to be knives. There's always going to be improvised weapons. There's always going to be that threat. And you have to take all of those things into account. You can't just assume that, there's not going to be the presence of weapons. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me, especially as an instructor of martial arts and teaching people how to handle themselves in the real world. I had kind of ignored that aspect of things before I found ShivWorks and Craig. And, I really, really not thought about it like that. My answer was always, get behind them, choke them out, have somebody use them as a shield if I needed to. And if there was multiple attackers, I have one guy in front of me that's asleep in my arm and I can deal with that. But if you think about it, in ECQC, I did my evolution, the first time I ever did an evolution. And dude, I have my rear naked choke. Dude reaches into his pocket, grabs a knife and just starts stabbing me in the leg, literally it's my femoral. I'm bleeding out, and I may choke him out, but I'm not gonna make it, most likely. And you've seen the stories of heroes, jumping up on a crowded bus that's getting held up, and they come up and grab somebody rear naked choke because they think they can, take care of that situation and be the hero, and dude just reaches back and shoots the guy in the head. So that's something that people just really don't think about, especially fighters. So if you're a fighter, I would highly recommend really contextualizing the real world application of what it is that you do. So what we do with ShivWorks and specifically ECQC is we functionalize handgun inside that 0 to 5 foot inside wingspan space. And I think what it does is you don't need to be a fighter. You don't need to be a shooter. You need to have basic firearm skills, but really what you need is just a willingness to learn and thinking about, the way that you employ your handgun and hand-to-hand skills in the real world. One of the things that was really impactful for me was that realization that what Craig was teaching at the time. It didn't matter whether you were a third degree black belt or a Div 1 wrestler or a dude that never done any kind of training whatsoever. The content that we present will take the person with zero knowledge, and in 4 hours, we're getting them to a point where they may not beat that guy that's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt or a Div 1 wrestler, but at least they can survive.
Right.
You know, and if they can survive, I think that's a really good goal in a short format course where you only have a guy for a weekend or a girl for a weekend and that kind of thing. And you can teach them in that short format course how to get home. You know, it's a 70% solution. If you want the rest, it takes a lifetime, right? So I think that's really important takeaway for me as far as what ShivWorks does. The other thing, and if you are a fighter, if you are somebody that's has other skills, law enforcement, military, that kind of thing. One of the things that got lost on me at when we first started doing it was the importance of the managing unknown contacts, the soft skills, the verbal agility, and that kind of thing, and understanding that was probably more important than any of the other stuff as far as real world goes. And for people that are thinking about taking this course or thinking whether they should or they shouldn't, regardless of whether you go through the whole thing or not, you should definitely take that managing unknown contact module, which is the Friday night portion of what we do. It's 4 hours, zero fighting. Really all it is teaching you how to deal with an approaching stranger that you don't know their intentions, you don't know what they want to do. And for me, that kind of stuff was kind of like, okay, I don't really care about that. When are we going to fight?
Right,
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I want. Okay, I want to fight. I came to get down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as I started doing it, I started realizing the impact that had on people that weren't fighters or people that weren't necessarily, looking to just come here and learn how to fight, and that's not what we do really. So it was cool to see how that affected people and how it took people into places where they were completely out of their comfort zone, and being completely out of their comfort zone, but in a safe place where they could have that experience, but not, not be embarrassed, be vulnerable, but not get hurt, and I think we do a really good job of giving everybody that honest experience, as opposed to, giving, for instance, if, and I'm not calling out anybody or saying anything like that, but there are a lot of self-defense courses out there where people are hitting each other and doing all this kind of stuff, and the guy in the big suit just falls down magically and it works, and that kind of thing, and that's not really honest, and in the back of their minds, every single person that goes through a course like that, they know, and that's not doing you any good. Right. It's really not. It's in my opinion, that's giving you a dishonest win, and I think that's worse than an honest loss. Absolutely. That's something Craig says all the time, and it makes so much sense because, go through this, deal with the experience, realize what your vulnerabilities are, realize what your shortcomings are, and then you can work on those things, on your own throughout the rest of the year until you get a chance to audit the system again the next year. Ooh, which is pretty cool.
Yes, what you said is so important. So sorry if I'm repeating myself to you, but my first ECQC was just like jumping into the deep end, trying to is it called wading the water? Is that what it is?
Treading water.
Treading, thank you. I was treading water. Yeah. Second ECQC, I felt like I was kind of chilling and I was able to hold myself up. This one, I feel like I'm finally appreciating and enjoying it more. Yeah. So I told Brian, I'm not just taking notes on what Craig is saying, but I'm taking notes on the why behind all of it. When Craig says this is because X, Y, and Z, because a lot of instructors don't do that. They say what to do. They don't give context. They don't make you test it under pressure to prove it to yourself. That's something that's really great about him, is everything he says, he has to vet with the evolutions. If you think of it that way. Yeah. And I love that. It always shows true. And this is a course that if you take it once, that's amazing, but definitely try to take it even twice, 3 times. I'm excited to bring some people to this course, like more people.
I've actually, the way that we teach this course and the way we use pressure and modulate pressure, and what I mean by that is how much energy you're giving or opposing energy that you're giving your partner that you're working with.
Right.
I've actually employed that in just teaching regular Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at a whole new level. And really it's gotten a lot of good effect, and understand how to say, okay, you're going to be going, 15-20%. What does that mean? Your partner's going 15-20%, but if your partner's 100 times better than you, it's really hard for 2 people to both go 15-20% and have that honest experience. So understanding how to to communicate that to the students and say, hey, listen, I want you guys, you're both trying to do something, you're not letting them do what they want to do, but neither one of you is trying to win. Right? So you're trying to give each other enough pressure where they can get the feel of it, and then understand the movement, and then kind of flow with it, and then build into a point where you can actually try and do it against somebody who's really not trying to let you do it, and they're trying to win. So understanding those different pieces of how you modulate pressure and all that kind of stuff has been a really big, from an instructor standpoint, been really cool for me to learn and to be able to employ that in other aspects of what I teach. So
hell yeah. I mean, I know that because before this quick interview, he was like, what's your goal? Like, what's your goal of this interview? And I was like, shit, I need to actually think about that. And that's what you all do. You define what the success is before you teach the students, so they know what they're training towards. It sets you guys apart so much. I can't get enough of these courses. I know. I always feel like I annoy Craig because I'm like, can I come? I'll make content. Just let me come, please. And yeah, so
what Brian says all the time, and I think it's a really cool thing. And I don't know whether he told you this or not.
Sure.
But one of the things that he said was, we teach you 0 to get home.
Ooh.
Right? 0 to get home. It's not. We're not going to teach you in being a ADCC champ. We're not going to teach you how to be a Div 1, national champion. We're not going to teach you how to fight in the Olympics or do anything like that. We are going to take you from 0 to get home.
Love that.
And for those of you guys that fight already, this will help you contextualize, fighting in the real world. For those of you guys that have 0 experience, it's for you too. This will teach you how to get to a point where you can safely survive an altercation with somebody, because most people in the world, really, I mean, if you're honest, if you look at it, most criminal assaults do not involve people that really know how to fight. If you get that unlucky, black belt that's whooping your ass trying to take your wallet, you might want to just give it to them.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
I do find a little comfort in that if someone is attacking you, they're probably not an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
They probably got, because at that point, that person has a little bit more, hopefully, like,
Little bit
emotional regulation. Yeah, you almost have to have that with that, sir. I'll let them pass. I've got one more thing for you if we have time. Okay, very cool. So today, I don't know if you've seen this sticking out of my waistband.
Sticky holster.
I bought a sticky holster. I went to Sportsman Warehouse to get 380 auto. First time I've ever bought 380. And I was perusing the holster. I always like to see what the hell they're selling. And I've always told people, they're talking kind of loud, so I want to be... It's a boom mic, so it doesn't differentiate. It's unidirectional, but it's...
Enjoy the suit would be sir. 100%.
Nice. Super cool. So yeah, I was walking down the aisle at Sportsman Warehouse, and I grabbed a sticky holster. My whole career in this industry, which has only been about 2 years, I still feel like a baby. I've said no to sticky holsters. The idea of a holster not being fit for a firearm, not having a hard plastic cover over the trigger guard, and ultimately not having a form of pants retention other than the stickiness on the outside has always just stressed me out. The more I've seen like people going upside down, in my last evolution, I'll put a little clip of that V-roll here. The guy and I just rolled quite a bit, and a sticky holster, I don't know how to feel about it. What are your experiences and opinions?
I've used a sticky holster before.
Okay.
It's nice because it's super comfortable.
Right.
Right?
Yes,
but
I get that.
once you take it out, you it's hard to get it back in without taking this out.
Right.
Right.
Or like muzzling yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, how do you put it back into the holster without muzzling yourself?
Right.
The other thing is, that's fine. I think
Right.
it's a lot like, the trigger guard holsters.
Right.
That just cover the trigger guard.
Yes.
I think it's really viable for, small guns in like a pocket, maybe a pocket gun that covers, the trigger. But again, is it going to stick in there in that kind of thing? So, I would invite you or challenge you to take this into an evolution and try.
That's my goal today. I'll
see how it does. See how it does. Yeah.
I will do that.
Of course. See if it works.
Yes.
I don't know if you have I don't know if this one specifically is going to fit the.
That's not even the right sticky holster for this particular gun.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't know if it'll fit our
sim gun.
Glock 19.
Yeah,
To send it. I mean, you could try.
Might ask and see the very cool. A explosive or a larger than probably not.
No, but they're definitely comfortable. They definitely work.
Yes.
But I don't know how they're gonna hold up in a fight.
That's good.
I've never used one in a fight, and I've never used, in an evolution. I've never seen them used in an evolution, but I've used them on the range. It's fun on the range for sure, but I don't know that it's necessarily, because I mean, you can holster the gun by, pushing this a little bit and kind of creating a little bit of space.
Kind of pushing it from the front.
Yes, but it definitely takes more work than a regular badass holster or something that's a little bit more sturdy. And again, this can, if you're trying to get a good grip on the firearm here, it can kind of slip, it can move. It's not secured with DCC clips that are going to hold it nice and sturdy and not let it sink too far into your pants.
Yes.
It's definitely comfortable, that's for sure, right?
Yes. So I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm not going to knock it, but as far as that piece, it's probably more comfortable than anything you're going to get. But as far as reliability, I would say it depends on when you're using it, where you're using it, how you're using it. Not, it would not be my everyday choice, but it's definitely. I mean, if you've got, I mean,
you got sweatpants on?
Yeah, sweatpants or something.
And it's the difference between you carrying or not carrying.
Yeah.
See, I used to be so black and white that it annoys me to think about even. So the idea of a sticky holster in the past gave me like chest pain, but now I'm realizing everything is in the gray area. Like if you are looking for a performance holster, one that you can go in and out of for IWB USPSA training, this isn't your thing.
No.
But if you're looking for something that you need a single draw out of, you're about to leave your home and you want to do a couple practice draws out of it just to make sure you have that, like you have your index points and everything ready to go. Just be aware of the muzzle, try to do it maybe dry, and then just train out of it if you're going to carry it. But I'm tired of being like absolutely not unattainable.
No, I don't think it's an absolutely not.
Right.
But again, it's I would think about this kind of like a pocket gun situation.
Right.
This is a pocket gun holster or type of thing. So meaning that if I've got it in my back pocket, I'd rather have this in a sticky holster than in nothing.
That's a point.
Right?
Yes.
Because then, or some other type of sleeve that you can put the gun into so that you're not going to accidentally, as you reach into your back pocket, get your finger in the trigger well. So this, from that standpoint, I think is good. Now, I haven't tested it out in a pocket. I mean, as far as just reaching into your pocket and being able, see it sticks to the gun just like it sticks to you.
Right.
So I
maybe
think
adding a DCC clip to it, if anything. What do you think?
Yeah, but then at that point, it's not necessarily a sticky holster anymore.
That's a good point.
It is comfortable though. So from that standpoint,
it's crazy.
I don't know. Pros and cons, everything.
Exactly. I'm excited to look through it, look into it more. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you.
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Cool. Hey guys, I'm here with Craig himself. You're the founder and CEO, I guess, would you call it, of ShivWorks?
Yeah, owner of ShivWorks, founder of ShivWorks, yeah.
Beautiful. Well, Craig, I'm very thankful for your course. It was the first professional course I've ever taken, and anytime I've told people that, especially I have a buddy, Caleb Giddings. He's always like, it's crazy that that was your first one. I'm like, no, it's not though, because it really set me up for success and kind of made me an informed consumer of other classes that kind of throw you in the deep end and give you no contextualization around, actual self-defense and real world readiness. So I've always been very grateful for you. And this is my third ECQC. I still feel like I'm drinking from a water hose still, but in the best way possible. It always illuminates what I need to work on going forward.
Yeah, we kind of think of the class as, especially for somebody like you, Sophia, an alumni that comes back and repeatedly tests themselves. It's your annual audit. It kind of shows you where you're at. The things that you, if you had 5 things that you were in deficit previously, now you come back and they're 4, and you can look at those 4 and see them a little bit more clearly. So yeah, it's a constant journey. It really is. So people sometimes will say, hey, do you guys do advanced coursework? And it's like, no, we are advanced coursework. It's grad school, and that's you're continually writing.
Absolutely. In your own words, who is this course for?
This course is for anyone who is involved in self-defense. And I think there's a preconceived notion out there because of our social media that you have to be a jiu-jitsu black belt or an athlete or some kind of elite commando to do the training. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. As a matter of fact, I completely, this class was developed for and conceived for regular people, open enrollment training. In fact, I did open enrollment training for many years before we ever had any military or federal law enforcement or intelligence community contracts. That came much later. So it is scalable. We don't have the same expectations for a 68-year-old woman that we do for a 20-year-old guy. And one of the things we really pride ourselves on is giving people appropriate pairings that allow them to work as hard as they safely can. So the goal here is for everyone to work within their limitations and capabilities and be challenged.
Absolutely. One quick sec. Sorry. Good. Okay. It's so hard to see that red light. And I was like, holy shit, if it's not rolling, I will cry.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for explaining that. And in your own words, what is ECQC?
It is our flagship course. It's the course that ShivWorks was founded on, and we describe it as an overview of functional handgun skills at 0 to 5 feet, which we say requires an interdisciplinary or multimodal approach to solving that problem. So what we do is we take people's shooting and adapt it to clinch ground in confined and crowded space. We look at wrestling and jiu-jitsu and adapt that to weapons. And then we take both of those and find an intersection between how they work, come up with a working solution, and pressure test that theory at the end of each day, which is what most people see. They see literally, a minute's worth of work over a 10-hour working day. So
Absolutely.
yeah, there's a lot of drill. There's a lot of stuff that goes into a lot of the reels and stuff people see. It's not just 11 hours of people punching each other in the face. So we have, and considering what we do, I'll stand on our track record for safety and minimal injury. It's actually fairly rare that we have somebody significantly injured. It has happened, but it's in 23 years, literally I can count the number on a single hand of someone that needed, a cast or surgery or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And something I particularly want to ask you is, how can someone vet an instructor that they're going to? This is a question I get all the time.
That's a great question. It's really hard to do because unfortunately, most people's attention spans are captured by social media and the algorithmic manipulation that gives you a dopamine hit.
Oh yeah.
That's what people are drawn towards. So it can be very difficult. I think the easiest way to do that is to talk to people that you know and trust, and do the best that you can. It's hard to get good information. It's easy to be misled and go down the wrong pathway. We see a lot of divergence in the community as far as opinions on how things should work, how people should train, what they should, what they shouldn't do. So for somebody coming in, it can be overwhelming, as far as who's a good choice. I don't think I think probably, a reputable brand like Rangemaster for a basic handgun course is pretty easy to vet. You can vet that. You can go. They have a Facebook group, a community. They have a ton of alumni, And you can see coursework reviews and things like that, and then meet these people and actually talk to them. The other thing I will let people do is I make myself very transparent as far as that. That's why I do interviews and podcasts, so people can get a sense of me. They can see what the coursework looks like. They can see me teaching. They can hear me talking in a relaxed or formal atmosphere and get a handle on who I am. So I think one of the things that I would look for is just an instructor's transparency, and if they actually put themselves out there and they're willing to field questions about whatever. So you can,
Absolutely.
I present myself to the world as I am, warts and all, and some people will like it, some people won't, but we do have a commitment to that kind of transparency.
Absolutely. And just time in the industry is something I've come to value. I think I jumped in and just kind of I would take one piece of advice and follow that and kind of use it as religion. And then I kind of let myself be a little bit more open going forward. And because of that, I feel like now I've vetted people myself a bit more. And yeah, it's definitely hard. We don't have many standards, as you put very eloquently. And yeah, I'm just really thankful for ShivWorks. It's really setting a great standard.
Good. You're very welcome. There's an old adage, be open-minded, but not so much your brains fall out.
Ooh, oh,
So
I like that. Yeah.
I think that's probably a good litmus test,
Yes.
and we tell people, look, hey man, vet what we say, compare what we do, how we are, go to another class that's similar to ours and see what you think as far as the content, the instruction, the precision of delivery, the time management, all these things, the way they ensure that people are not going to get seriously injured, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I think, yeah, I'll tell people go train with that guy and see what you think.
Absolutely. And last thing, now that I've been to EWO,
Mhm.
I would actually say if you're looking at ECQC and you're kind of new to pistol work, would you say that EWO could be a good introductory place as far as the wrestling component and working? Not that blades are easier. There's a lot of
Right.
training and technique to it. But if someone was saying, "Hey, I don't know about the gun thing yet. Maybe I want to start with EWO," is that a valid thought?
It's an absolutely valid thought. The EWOs are easier to get to. Plus, a lot of times there's several reasons to probably do an EWO. Number one, you can focus strictly on the wrestling piece because they're the same. The managing no contacts piece, they're the same. The divergence happens obviously with the delivery system. One's a blade, one's a pistol, but the core delivery system is actually the same, the wrestling base. And the other thing too is we do EWOs indoors quite a bit.
Yes.
So I think for a lot of people, as hard and physical as the coursework is, you don't have to brave the elements, whatever they
Yes.
are. We had a class in Idaho, not 2 months ago,
Mhm.
October, and it was like 50 degrees and it just drizzle rained the entire time without
ECQC?
abating. It was an ECQC. So for a first timer, you're
Mhm.
just getting beat up by the weather and
Yes.
trying to learn all this stuff.
Yes.
It's hard, man. It's a grueling course. So I think as far as learning our basics that translate between knife and gun, yeah, I think he was a really good. I think that's a really good ticket. I would agree. That's a good. It's not an entry level course, but it's a good.
Right.
It's a good way to stick your toe in the water. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say I love that you all apply uh, your coursework no matter where we are. I was kind of shocked last night, but pleasantly, that we rolled around in as much dirt as we rolled, dirt
Yeah.
and dust that we rolled around in. And I remember thinking, oh no, that's not going to work for me. And then I remember thinking,
Yeah.
every time I've left ECQC and I've pushed myself in the elements and I've followed through and I've just trusted the coursework and the process, I've always come out feeling so just like kind of proud of myself in a way that I wouldn't if I was just in an indoor setting, I guess. And I'm not someone that grew up outdoors a lot.
Sure.
So it's so funny going from that to like rolling around in the dirt. But this is so realistic. If you think about where you'll be in an encounter, it could be city, but it could be also terrain like this. So I love it. No matter where we are, they make the coursework happen. You always ensure it's safe. If there's a big rock, you make sure to get it out of the way. You're not getting anyone injured. But you have that standard for your students. And you all do a crazy amount of work compared to all the courses I've been to. I mean, 10 hours of straight work with appropriate breaks. So I'm really, really thankful for it.
Yeah. So there's a guy by the name of John Hearn. He has a company called Two Pillars Training. I've known John for 20 years, but one of the things he said in his coursework is one of our jobs as trainers is to remove novelty from your database. So if you've never had a ground fight in on a realistic surface in a realistic environment, it's always been a training environment, one set up for your comfort and safety. Yeah, a big dust cloud coming up in your face, not having the same traction in wet grass, that's very different. So the environmental the elements, the environmental factors, that all goes towards removing novelty from your database. So one of our jobs is to give you knowns. It's like, whoop, fought on wet grass before. Whoop, had a big dust cloud come up in my mouth in the middle of a ground fight.
Ate so much dirt yesterday. I didn't need to eat dinner.
Yeah.
I had so much dirt for dinner.
I know. Hippies pay a lot of money to eat dirt.
You know what? You're right. It was free. Yes.
It was.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
I'm so excited for this vlog. I've been wanting to do this forever, but I didn't really know how to work a camera before this.
Well, now you know how to do all the...
Hell yeah, I got like these cool mics now.
Yeah.
And you got to shoot the bodyguard today. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. That's a cool little gun.
Yes,
I like
it is. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, guys, I'm here with Olivia. I basically dragged her away from lunch so that I could interview her. Olivia is a police officer, and I'm so thankful she's willing to speak on camera today because I've only ever really spoken to civilians in these courses. I've never really gotten to get the perspective of a police officer jumping in. You're also a woman, and that just means we're constantly in danger. So I would absolutely love your perspective on this course. First of all, why ECQC?
Yeah, I am part of my department's defensive tactics instructor program. So the majority of our instructors have already gone through the course. They speak super highly of it. One of my instructors is friends with Craig, so just worked out.
Yeah.
Everyone really recommended it. They said that this course was kind of the one to go to, and so far it's lived up just exactly to that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So far, what's been your biggest takeaway?
I think, and it kind of goes into what I've learned from the course. So many trainings cover either, what to do when a weapon is produced after you're already entangled, or just this course covers so many things in between and things that aren't readily trained or that people think about.
Absolutely.
So I really, really enjoyed the shooting progressions of going not just the normal range standard, you hear a beep, standing still, you draw and shoot. It's you're shooting and moving, you're in, entangled shooting. Those have been some pretty big takeaways. I think also just the whole grappling and wrestling. I really enjoy this course because it's allowing me to learn not necessarily, I don't like calling them weaknesses, but things that I can improve on.
Yes, I like that.
You learn so much about yourself.
Oh my God.
And when you can use force, or when it's justified. So that's been super helpful too, and not just relying on strength.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the thing I learn most about myself every time I come to ECQC is how much of a baby I am. Last night when everyone was rolling around the dirt, I was like, surely we won't be doing it on the dirt all night. And then they were like, all right, guys, evolutions. I was like, shit.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah. How was that for you, being in the helmet and doing a simulation?
We try to get, it's pretty recent with our department, we try to do some kind of fight for life. I know a lot of law enforcement do some kind, either at the academy or within their own department. So we tried to do one of those for every person who comes through. But obviously it's different going with a stranger. You don't actually know them, right? Versus someone that you train with regularly.
Right.
And just the different positions, it was eye-opening. It's never a good feeling, getting shot or getting your weapon taken from you or anything like that.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just a good reminder to stay in the fight. Yeah, it's nice that we work with sims so that you can feel and get real reads. But.
Absolutely. I've not seen that be a common thing in classes, but I'm truly just on the civilian side. So as far as the training that police departments give out, I don't know if that's common or not. So you're saying it's not common to work with sims?
We have sims every now and then.
Okay.
It's for occasional scenario-based training.
Interesting.
It's more, it's not because we have open mat, being part of the DT program, we have open mat twice a week.
Okay.
I could go and help as an instructor.
Nice.
But even in those, like, they're very sterile scenarios where if we are training with a weapon, it's a blue gun. It's a piece of plastic that, you don't actually get, there's no pain, there's nothing like that.
Right.
So it's so sterile, you don't actually get any, feeds of what you're doing right, or if you would be getting shot or anything like that.
Right.
So yeah, we definitely, as a whole program, we wish that we could train with, sim rounds and things where you actually get to feel that. But it's more of the admin and like liability stuff that kind of gets in the way. But
Gotcha. I've heard a little bit about that.
yeah.
Yeah, totally fair. I dated a cop once, so
yeah.
I got to hear a lot.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. And as just a woman civilian, and you're in civilian clothing, and maybe you carry. Do you carry? You mind if I ask?
Yeah.
You do carry consistently.
I just started this year with that.
Ooh, that's
so,
exciting.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
May the journey begin. It is
Yeah.
a lifelong one.
Yeah.
As me saying that at 2 years into the journey, as an elder. Exactly. Do you feel like this course also prepares you for everyday life?
Yeah, it ties, I think it ties a little bit back into what I said, like at the very beginning. It's like this course helps kind of give you that information of what would be justified. It's like, I'm out here getting my butt kicked by, people who are much stronger than me, much bigger, whatever it is. And it's like going through and getting these experiences and these reps, it like trains my brain to realize, hey, if I get entangled with this person, I might not come out. So it kind of gives me like a sliding scale of what might be allowed and what, what's not. And
Yes.
keep your head on a swivel. It's just that much more important.
Absolutely. I think it's called like the force continuum. I need to maybe look into that term a little bit better, but that's kind of what I'm hearing. Like, that was always a concept that I still kind of stress about because I carry pepper spray, a knife, a gun. I have my voice. I have striking. I have all these little tools and just bells and whistles, like Craig calls them. And so having training on when to deploy what is awesome. I actually have my pepper spray nerd trainer today. I'm going to try to like shock someone with it. Yeah, that's awesome. But the last time I did that, I threw it because the guy was coming at me and already hitting me. And it's like, at that point, I'm going to go hand on hand. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to be like, oh shit, that pepper spray moment didn't happen. Like I was kind of wanting to get it for the gram to support palm pepper spray, but
that'd be awesome.
it wasn't appropriate. So it got thrown out. So kind of interesting, but I'm really excited for you to see the full evolutions. I think you're going to do freaking awesome. And if you don't, again, we learn what we improve on, and
Just learning.
that's the point.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate you. I've
Thank
loved
you.
meeting you, and I hope we stay in touch.
Yeah,
It's going to be awesome. Hell yeah. Awesome. Hey guys, I'm here with Nick, another student from ECQC. We just spoke with Olivia on the kind of police perspective. I'm really excited to speak to someone here who I heard him tell his story on the first day. Craig goes around and asks everyone why they got into ECQC, and his reason was lovely. It was for your family, correct?
Correct.
Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is my first ECQC. Life has changed quite a bit of recent. I have 2 little girls now, 3 and 4 years old. And it's just like, as much as you wish the world was a perfect place, it's not. And, I think about different environments, different places I am, and, not necessarily having a plan. And, when I did a little bit of more research as to like what this would do for me, as putting together a plan and having, something in place, God forbid something ever did happen, obviously you hope you never have to use these types of skills, but at the end of the day, you want to have something in your arsenal to be able to protect your family and friends and your loved ones, and, do what you got to do to make sure that they stay safe. So.
Absolutely. Yes. And do you think you would ever take this course again? Maybe
Yes.
come back for another one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because it's, as much as you're digesting information, you can always kind of continue to hone your craft and perfect. And, I love being a student. So, applying this, hopefully outside of this, it's a little bit harder on the East Coast. There's not as many open ranges like this where you can do this type of firearms stuff.
Right.
Luckily for me, I have, a lot of friends out here. So, I definitely, when this comes back around, I'll definitely be here.
Absolutely. And last thing, what's your biggest takeaway so far?
Just, building confidence in some of these positions. It's scary stuff, right? Like being in these, live action fighting and drilling, but like understanding control and body positions and how to put myself in a position to excel. Like I said, if it ever came to that, just understanding and being aware and and being able to implement that into real life.
Absolutely. Do you currently do any combatives training?
None.
None.
Yeah, none.
Okay.
I have a fitness background. Yeah,
Great.
fitness background. I'm a gym owner. I do general contracting.
Amazing. Yeah, I saw your
So,
rogue
yeah,
thing earlier. I was wondering
nothing,
about that.
nothing really, you know, combat training wise and stuff. And that's why I feel like I get pulled into this stuff to be a student again and be able to learn and just digest more information.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is exactly the point of this video, to show everyone that it is for everyone.
Yeah,
So
it's an awesome class. You guys got to do it.
Got to do it. Thanks so much,
Yeah.
Nick. Lovely to meet you.
You as well.
All right. So you've made it to the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep your eyes out on my Fit for FIA YouTube channel for the full vlog. Otherwise, thanks for watching. All of the information for ECQC and ShivWorks will be in the show notes, which are the notes below the title. Anyway, guys, we'll see you in the next episode. Stay safe and stay vigilant.